Oh, I'm sorry to bother you. Are you working on the computer? Okay. Well, you know what? I need you to take a break from the computer and work with the kids. All right, fourth graders. Honey Rose is going to work with you guys on a text features chart. You'll see it in your assignment today and you'll see it in the lesson. It has 12 different squares on it that tell us about things that we'll find in nonfiction reading. Remember, nonfiction reading is reading that is true or real. Remember again that story that Rosie really likes. Honey Rose loves this, Bad Pets on the Loose. She's almost finished with it, by the way. But there's all kinds of stories that are true. We consider them nonfiction. Another great example of that is the Scholastic News, which you've had a chance to look at the digital issue of this, the copy that goes along with our digital Scholastic News for the fourth graders. That is considered nonfiction as well. All the stories in there are true. So they have these things called features. A feature is just something in it or about it or that makes it what it is. So inside of the nonfiction story like Scholastic News, we might find that there are captions. That's that first word there, captions. You see, it tells you right in the chart. Captions are words near a picture or photograph to help readers better understand. So when you find a caption, it's usually right next to a picture or a photograph. Comparisons. These are things that help readers picture things in their head. They give you an example there, like this shark is as big as a school bus. So in our story, we actually had a story about sharks. If you remember in the Scholastic News, this story right here, the mega tooth found, for those that got this far, talked about an ancient shark and a mega tooth that they found with this shark. So comparisons, it just so happens they have this example about a shark too. Comparisons are another feature of nonfiction. A glossary. Glossary is kind of like a dictionary. It helps define what a word is. It's usually from the book. It's usually towards the back of the book, a glossary. Now, in Scholastic News, they have glossaries that are right in the issue. They call them words to know. So when you find a word to know at the bottom like that, that's kind of like a glossary. It tells you what the words mean. Okay, going back to our chart, you can see then the next one is graphics. Graphics are charts or cutaways. They are used to help readers better understand what the author is saying. Then there's illustrations and photographs. There's lots of illustrations and photographs in Scholastic News. They help readers see exactly what something or someone looks like. The next one here is the index. An index we don't find in a Scholastic News, but other books you might. It's an alphabetical list of ideas that are in the book, and it tells you what page you should turn on to find it. Now, Scholastic News kind of does that. On the very last page, it has a title, Color for Everything is the Story. You see how it says pages 2 and 3. So you can look on pages 2 and 3 to try to help you get the answers to these. Same with this one. It says pages 4 and 5 for that lending a helping hand story. And then that'll help you answer those 3 questions. So kind of, in a way, that's like an index where it tells you what page to look at to find something. Labels, those are parts of the story that help you identify a picture or photograph again. They're usually involved with the pictures and the photographs. Maps. Sometimes you'll find a map within a nonfiction book, or in this case, Scholastic News. Special print. When a word is in bold or in italics or it's underlined, it must be an important word for us to know. It's in special print. Again, within Scholastic News, they have bold print words. Like, for example, let me find bold print word like right here. That's a word we know really well. The word pandemic, because we're in the midst of one. Pandemic is a bold word. So in this story about lending a helping hand, pandemic is an important word for us to know. So it's in special print. So on our chart, when it says special print is another feature of nonfiction, that's what they're talking about. Now, table of contents, that's not in our Scholastic News, but in this story, Bad Pets on the Loose, if we look at a table of contents, it's usually towards the front of the book, and it usually has a list of the names of the chapters or the names of the things inside of it. Here we go, table of contents. It tells you what page to turn to find these particular stories. Rosie really enjoys looking at these stories. She, I think, is down to Vandals is where she's at in her reading. So a table of contents can help us, and that's in nonfiction books. And finally, subtitles. Subtitles are headings, special headings that help readers know what the next section will be about. In the Scholastic News, a subtitle might be, like in the case of our shark story, a subtitle would be underneath it. So we have, this one's a life science story. The main title is Megatooth Found, and this one doesn't have a subtitle, does it? It doesn't have a title underneath the main title. Lending a helping hand. This one does tell us something underneath it that helps us understand what the main title is about. So subtitles, sometimes you find them, sometimes you don't, but that's another thing that's part of nonfiction types of readings. So this chart, this nonfiction text feature chart, has a lot of different things that we can look for in our reading. And that's what we're going to do today is we're going to use a story. It's actually from the Scholastic News, the one that I was just sharing with you. And we're going to try to find what is one of these text features. Like maybe we'll look for a caption, or maybe we'll look for a map, or maybe we'll look for, a glossary where it tells us what the word means. We're going to look for these things inside of our Scholastic News story and see if we can come up with them. Well, that's awesome, Honey Rose. You got started on your assignment already. So we're going to see if you can do some of this, and then we'll come back and check on Honey Rose later and see how she's done. She's trying to label the text features that are in that Scholastic News article about the shark, and she thinks that maybe you guys can do just as well. So take a look at the assignment page next. See if you can figure out which one of those 12 squares show up in the Scholastic News page that you have. Excellent work, Honey Rose. We'll check back with the kids tomorrow then.